audio. Hello, chatlings, all two of you. But still, thank you for coming, and thank you. We can't even get all of our players watching us live on Twitch. Oh well. But thank you for coming, and all the same. And thank you if you are watching us from the future on VOD form on either Twitch or YouTube. And so far, that's all we've got. Sorry. It's been a day. This is Magic Fish Radio. We do tabletop RPG streams on Tuesdays and Saturday nights. Generally World of Darkness, but on alternating Saturdays, we are looking to do more indie game one-shots. If you are an indie game creator, or publisher, or just enthusiast fan who wants to suck up to the gaming company, and you would like to stream a one-shot, join our Discord and ask us about it, because we have openings for all that over the next few weeks. If someone could put a link in the in the chat for the Discord, because I can't do that and talk at the same time. It's been a day. So yeah, we're looking for that. We're also potentially looking to expand the cast of this stream. So if you like V5 and you like it in black and white, give us, also join our Discord and we'll chat about it. And if you're not interested in joining our streams as a player, join our Discord anyway, because we're chill. And honestly, I'm terrible at running social media right now, so Discord is the best way to get information about what the heck is going on this channel. Including video game streams that were supposed to start today on a regular schedule and did not, and that's on me. Yeah, okay, I switched it over to John, because I've run out of producer spoons. John, you are the GM, and I'm not, and that's great.
Thank you for having me back. Yay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to yet another adventure of Eldritch Adversaries, a V5 Chronicle, starring our lovely cast of characters. Before we get through the introductions, we'll do the quick bit of housekeeping that we sometimes forget and don't remember until just the break, but I will make sure I get them done and out of the way now. Here on Magic Fish Radio, we don't use cash. We use channel points that you generate from watching the shows live. And when you do, you can earn points that you can use to spend to give either myself, the storyteller, or our players advantages to assist them in getting through everything that they need to get through. You can purchase additional die for a pool that they can use to pull one or two from if they need to. Well, no, we restricted it to one for balance sake. To pull an extra die to throw around to, maybe they want to edge the chances more in their favor. There's also a rather sizable pool to add to me because I either roll very, very well and don't need the extra die, or I roll like crap and the one die won't matter. You can also purchase a pool of extra floating willpower points that the players can pull from to restore their willpower scores, which is a resource that they can spend for various purposes throughout the campaign. You can also purchase them the opportunity to turn a bestial failure into a messy critical. Now, bestial failures have not come up in the campaign yet. However, when they happen, they can be terrible. They can be masquerade breaches, and that can cause huge problems, especially when you're in a city where, the prince isn't kind of fond of you because you did him a huge favor. So that can be a thing that you can buy for them to give them a helping hand if you so wish. But since we sometimes forget that bit of housekeeping, I just want to make sure that was out of the way. So yes, those of you who are watching us on VOD or YouTube, unfortunately, you are not generating channel points yet. I think you were looking into a way maybe to get channel points on VOD. I'm not sure about that.
As far as I know, there's still no way to do that. It's
right,
live watching only, sadly.
So those of you who are watching us from the future, terribly sorry then. Still, hope you have fun. Keep watching around, and if you get the odd Tuesday off on time, swing on in. You can only swing in halfway through, do it. Come on in. We have fun.
We still like to see you in chat.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Or at least I try to keep things fun. I mean, I don't always succeed, but I try.
That's right. I wrote down all our channel point pools before game started, and then forgot to bring up that part in my producer spiel. I am tired.
You've been having a rough time, so I'm going to do whatever I make your life easier.
Thank you. All right, so players, we have 5 +1s in our pool, 0 willpower in the pool, and 1 crit change. The GM has 17 +1s. Help us, chatlings! Help! We don't have a dog anymore! It's all downhill from here.
Look,
Ace the Wonder Hellhound has borked off and left us here.
Those of you with
so easy, just spend channel points.
Thank you, Dracus.
Those of you with animalism are more than, or even not just with animalism, you'll just gain more benefits with animalism, are more than welcome to wind up getting your own canine ghoul. Unfortunately, his name won't be something bitchin' like Ace. It's going to be something like Philippe or Henri, because you're currently in Paris. I forget what the French equivalent of Spot is, but for now we'll just call him Spot.
Le Spot.
Le Spot.
Le Spot.
Uka will watch this and be angry with all of us.
My French is terrible. I never claimed my French was good.
Well, no, it's bad. No, it's not your French. It's the fact that we decided that the French for spot is le spot. I'm very sure our linguist friends on Discord will have something to say with a capital S-A-Y about that later. And I am looking forward to it.
Okay, but it's French.
So, Ghoul Hellhound, but make it French.
Also, those of you who are offended by shitty accents, I'm sorry. That being said, we'll have our players do their usual quick old introductions, which from my POV going clockwise would start with our phenomenal channel producer, Ha.
Who am I again? Oh good, I put it on my Zoom screen so I can remember my character name. Hi,
yeah, sure.
I'm Ms. Chrysala on all the social medias, and I am playing Charisse Lowell, the Malkavian of this crew, who came to Paris to read some dusty old books and apparently meet some mages, which she is curious about now. Also, I realized that she is the default adult of the group. So when that is you know, kind of the meek, wishy-washy Malkavian who would rather just read tomes of forbidden lore, it's gonna get weird. I think she's doing a good job as advising the youngins, but I get the feeling, yeah.
Well, you see, now the youngins are without a chaperone, so let's see how this shit goes.
Moving forth, wreak havoc. Out of character. In character, she'd never say it. In character, Charisse would never say that. Out of character, go forth, wreak havoc, my friends. This is your sandbox now, full of bones and catacombs. Anyway, next.
Isabelle.
Yes, hello. My name's Ari. I play Isabelle Quincy, a former socialite who's always wanted to be able to, who has been to Paris a couple of times before, but never has she been to Paris with the ability to leave like the house of like the rich person she's visiting, because she's being sized up and like their family was, and like just
also
she was under a lot of constraints. She had to
probably alive the last time she was here.
Yeah, last time she was here, she was alive, significantly younger, and significantly more restrained. Literally and not like literally. That would be really weird. Figuratively, that is.
I mean, were there still courses in the Edwardian corsets? Yeah, there were. So
yeah, I guess
they were going out of fashion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't consider the Titanic movie to be historical doctrine.
And Isabelle is looking forward to a night on the town.
Woo-hoo.
This will end swimmingly. Which brings us now to Vern, the young adult in the room.
Yeah. So I'm Dracus. I'm playing Vern, who is Isabelle's older mortal brother, younger kindred. And I'm a Nosferatu, so almost a walking masquerade breach. Yeah, I'm looking to find out what's going on in the sewers and catacombs of this city that's famous for its sewers and catacombs.
All right. Well, with the introductions out of the way, let's get back into it. When last we left our coterie, Charisse had stepped aside to go speak with the owner of this establishment, with whom arrangements had been made through connected members of the family and a couple back alley deals as rewards for services rendered. And because this family is connected and wonderful, and I love them, and I will continue to use them whenever I run a vampire game, because yes,
The Disables are your babies. Your fangy, bloodlusty babies.
they are, and I adore them. And
Wait, is the same Disables that I am also working with, right? Or is that...
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. See, I remember some things.
Yes. They take their name from the matriarch of this little cartel. And she, while none of them are physically related to her by mortal blood, they are all related by kindred blood. And they all serve the Disabla business cartel.
Mm-hmm.
Charisse went to go speak with him about access to the tome. As it turns out, there had been a slight miscommunication. It wasn't clear what information she wanted, and that she would not be able to leave with said book, as he had done a quiet favor or two on the side for a local mage tradition. So they were willing to cooperate with him so long as these books weren't being seen by a Tremere, because, Tremere. So now that the arrangements could be made, they were going to bring books that she could read just to expand her knowledge, because Kindred can't use magic. The Tremere might be able to find a way to use magic, but because she's not Tremere, it's okay. They're willing to work with the Disabla so long as all of the criteria are met for their arrangement. Also, it was discovered that there was a misunderstanding with the concierge, and that Charisse was going to have someone come up who was not just going to help her work on her French, but help her relieve various tensions that she didn't want to have relieved.
Work on French.
Yeah, exactly. Upon the realization of that miscommunication, he made a point to call down and arrange not to have that specific help sent to her room.
I really need to be more conscious about and aware of euphemisms going forwards.
Also, you're dealing with French Toreador. There is no sexuality stronger or ego more fragile than a French Toreador, except for a French male Toreador.
Possibly Dracula, but that's different.
Depends on the continuity.
Depends on the continuity. I don't know if that applies to Kindred Dracula or not, because I have no idea, except for he's around.
Yeah, we stumbled
Do
in
not
on
just,
that.
say his name and hope for an answer. That sounds like a really bad plan.
As we learned in London when Isabelle kept doing that.
In fairness, Isabelle, I think Isabelle's assumption that Dracula was just nonsense fiction was not entirely an unreasonable opinion to have.
And that Charisse hasn't read Dracula yet because she thinks it's a bubblegum book. She's like, wait, what? So
Yeah.
Pop fiction, popular fiction. About what? About vampires? Who does that?
Mr. Bram Stoker, who apparently had an all right time.
No.
He apparently got off pretty well, considering everything.
So 45 on the percentile die. You don't need to know what that was for.
What?
Wait, do our out-of-character discussions hold sway on what misfortune we summon for ourselves?
Don't take place.
Yes. The answer to that question is: have you ever been a dungeon master?
Obviously.
Because the answer to that question is always yes.
So yes,
Right, it was a stupid question.
Charisse, currently speaking in the office and then eventually retiring to her room for the evening because her books won't arrive until tomorrow night, leaves Isabelle and Vern with the evening to themselves. And moving down the streets of Paris is a little difficult for Vern, and moving through the various necropoli underneath the city is not necessarily great for Isabelle. So unless Vern wishes to obfuscate or Isabelle wishes to get her mud and desiccated corpse walking boots, you two have to tell me what it is in the city you both want to do.
But Isabelle's all edgy. Of course she can walk through a sewer. She's that edgy Von Troop.
To be fair, if someone told her, dude, no, oh please, you shouldn't get your boots wet here, she absolutely would, in fairness. It's just that Vern knows not to say that to her.
I mean, unless getting you to come along is what I want.
If you want Isabelle to come along, you can just ask her to. She will do whatever you ask her to.
As I recall, we did leave out something because Vern had decided to go back up to the room, leaving Isabelle alone in the lobby.
Yeah,
so,
that is true.
Vern, what are you doing in your room? Isabelle, you've got about 4 or 5 minutes for you to figure out what it is you want to do out on the town by yourself, unsupervised by the adult or the young adult. So, Vern.
To be fair, Isabelle is both. Was a young adult when she was turned. She is of age. She was of age even back then.
Yes, but mentally you don't have the inhibition control of these two.
No, she doesn't.
No, she doesn't. So Vern, you are brought back up in the lift after dropping your obfuscate and avoided by the handful of mortals that are not ghouls walking around, and you are returned to your floor, which is occupied entirely by kindred. And you are free to return to your individual suite, which, just to remind you, is a rather sizable establishment. It has a large living bedroom area that has a small table for where you would theoretically be able to enjoy meals or to spread out paperwork or do whatever you wish. There is a large bathing vessel from which you would be able to take a bath if you were so inclined. I
haven't been in the sewers yet.
Yeah. Well, no, just in general, because they don't know what kindred's going on. I know. But it's very ostentatious. It's very not Nosferatu. It stinks of Toreador extravagance. But unlike some Tories you've dealt with in Boston, it's a very tasteful elegance. Like it isn't offensive, but it's still a lot. It's a very, very pretty. It's a very, very ornate, but it doesn't quite burst into the obscene that radically offends some Nosferatu. I mean, you have full access to calling the front desk if you want to call up someone to snack on, or if you want to order some books, or if you wish for an information guide for where a Nosferatu might be able to go and be able to stretch their legs. The concierge is available on the house phones to answer your questions.
And as we established last week with my ridiculous Auspex roll, I think at least all of the staff we've seen so far is ghouls.
Yes.
Like, everybody's a ghoul.
The elevator attendant is a ghoul. Everyone working the front desk was a ghoul. The one working the concierge desk was a ghoul. All of the bellhops were ghouls.
This can't... sorry. My nerd brain is like, so this can't just be one Toreador's place, because that Toreador would not have enough blood points to feed all these ghouls on a regular basis. Okay.
It depends on when they're all scheduled to receive their blood.
Okay, sorry.
But he could also very well have several employees beneath him, i.e. his children, maintaining their own ghouls.
Okay. Shush, GM brain. Shush. You're not the GM here. Shush.
These are questions you're more than welcome to ask.
Sorry, I'm currently looking at Paris in the 1920s, and I just noted it is fully possible that we meet Ho Chi Minh at some point, who is currently working as a pastry chef in Paris. Yes, Ho Chi Minh, the future leader of Vietnam, is currently working as a pastry chef in Paris during the years of 1919 to 1923.
Huh.
It's probably not going to come up, but I'm just wanting people to be aware that this was the case, because I'm looking at just Wikipedia articles on Paris.
So we could just accidentally stop stop Nam from happening.
Just by accident.
Not necessarily stop it, but cause
alter
it in a different series of events.
I'm pretty sure we might be able to turn Ho Chi Minh into a vampire, but I don't think he stops being a communist if we do that.
Yeah, then he just ghouls. the people who wind up leading the Vietnam War.
Yes.
Okay.
That's stupid, and I don't think we should actually do that, but
I mean, he should be a brouhaha. Let's just,
Oh, absolutely.
don't have any interest in trying to change the fate of the Vietnam War at this stage.
Which you also don't know about. The Avian might get a few whispers about it if she bumps into Ho Chi Minh, but you don't.
Well, I don't know about it, so
We
I have
don't
no
even-
interest in
we
it.
don't even know
I
about-
just noticed that there's zero reason for a vampire to go.
we
to
don't
the
even know how evil German socialism's gonna get yet.
Cool.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
don't know. Some of the
So I
monks
think-
are like, something bad is gonna happen. I have that taste in my mouth, but it's like future taste. Not
Those who
not
know will
back-
say nothing.
Not history taste that I don't know. This is future taste.
Well,
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
to be fair, that there is someone who's trying to alter the past right now. He's just not going to succeed.
Kane?
No, Kane's got his own
Chill.
deal right now. Namely, a certain angry former associate who still wants to turn him inside out for stealing from her. But
It's difficult.
that's his own problem. But yes, so
Anyway, now game is now. 1920s Paris.
Yeah.
Burn.
It occurs to me. The Eiffel Tower was built in 1889. This may be the first time that Vern and Isabelle have seen it.
Mm-hmm. Which is a thing you can go and do, but we just want to finish up with Vern first.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm looking. I'll stop commenting on things and keep looking at things.
What does
to do
Vern
with
call for on room service? Go.
Or Vern just fuck off and decide to take the night to himself.
Tempted, but I do have 2 dots in hunger right now, so I want to do something about that first.
Okay. Are you calling room service or are you going to hunt?
Tempting to go to hunt, but I don't think Dracus am up to dealing with that this evening, so calling room service. It's an easier meal anyway.
Okay. So you pick up the house phone and you call down to the front desk. Oui, front desk. How may we be of service?
Yes, I think I should like something of a snack up here.
Oh, certainly. Room 12E?
Yes.
Excellent. Will this be a light snack or a full meal?
Just a light snack.
Very well. We shall send up one to satisfy. Have you any preferences?
Nothing strong.
No particular humor that you wish them to be rich with? No preference?
No preference.
Very well. We will send up one at our earliest convenience. As a reminder to the players and to the viewers at home, the humors of blood play a much bigger role mechanically within the confines of V5, as certain disciplines are associated with the different humors, and the different humors are related to different emotions that your victims can be feeling. And should you feed upon someone of a particular humor, and you have disciplines that interact with this, then while that blood is still in your system, you gain a bonus die for any die rolls that use that discipline.
I never thought I'd see the day when Vampire borrowed from Changeling. Changeling the Lost, for sure, but Changeling...
So
I don't think I have anything
I will now eat someone else's feelings. Excuse me.
particular with my disciplines.
Does it say that in the discipline write-up or somewhere else?
it says it in the humors. There is a section of the core rulebook that deals with the humors, and I will find that for you now because I do not recall the exact page off the top of my head.
Because if I do have something that gets a mechanical benefit from having a preference, then I have a preference.
Yes. The only thing to really remember is that there are only two disciplines that aren't affected by the humors, but they are affected by the actual absence of the humors. So they gain their bonus die from feeding upon those who are incapable of feeling emotion or are incapable of interaction. So certain types of mental disorders or comatose victims are the ones that grant them their bonus die. This deals very heavily with oblivion. It focuses very much on the absence of the things that denote life, if that makes sense. You're not suffering from rage or lust or fear. You're just sort of... Yeah, it's a little weird. I know. Give me just a moment.
Well, that's what happens when you infer your new vampire system using Changeling the Lost. It's gonna get weird with a Y.
Yep, usually.
Hans! Okay. Oh, right, this book doesn't have a table. Oh, no, there's the index.
Yeah. There is an index.
Keep running game. I'm gonna look this up on my own.
Yeah, I thought I'd save the page, but apparently I've not. I'd forgotten. So yes, that is a thing that can bear relevance in here, and it will deal, and it can matter with a lot of things. There are disciplines that gain a benefit only from feeding on animal blood, such as animalism, which would get you the bonus die present there. Also, mechanically, there is a thing called dyscrasia, where a person is not just annoyed or a little unnerved, but is full of rage or terrified or in the grips of absolute lust and desire. And dyscrasia gives you benefits, and also mechanically is what's supposed to allow you to advance disciplines by spending experience points on that. And I haven't decided if I'm actually going to enforce that rule or not. Mostly just because that rule is just a little It involves you either having to engineer this whole event or having me engineer the whole event so that you find a specific person to feed upon in a specific humor at a specific degree. And it's not sure if there's necessarily a lot of time available to that.
Page 228. But on 229, it looks less about disciplines and more about feeding on certain humors and personality types can give you mechanical bonuses. Like, I don't know, it's okay. Things we will read later. 228.
Yeah. There's a whole, here it is. It's on 226. That breaks down the 4 humors, the elements they appeal to. I will find which disciplines it applies. Oh, there it is. Resonance and disciplines. It's on page 227. Choleric appeals to celerity and potence. Melancholy deals with fortitude and obfuscate. Phlegmatic is auspex and dominate. Sanguine is blood, sorcery, and presence. And animal blood appeals to animalism and protean. So, there's not one discipline, there's not one humor, rather, that just benefits a kindred unless they've either ignored their other 2 disciplines or they've expressly built themselves to only have 2 disciplines dedicated to a single humor.
Notice how the 3 Von True disciplines are across 3 different blood types here.
That's how most, if not all of them, are designed. You require at least 2 or 3 humors.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it difficult for you to gain the bonus die on everything, because overfeeding has its own issues. And then you'd have to feed on 3 people in order to get the bonus die, and it's a bit of a mess, but it is a thing to bear in mind. So if you wish to work on enhancing some aspect of yourself, that is a thing you can consider. But if you don't plan on going out for tonight and you just want to ease the hunger a little bit, they'll just send you up somebody to snack on.
Well, I am going out tonight, and I do have a preference, because I want my celerity to be a little better than usual.
Vampiric Yoda votes
choleric
feed
would
on
be
all the
nice.
people, get every die.
So celerity is, which means you want someone who is angry, violent, passionate, envious, somebody who's got the Jungian function of feeling, the element of fire, the hormone of adrenaline. That's all the humors are basically associated with a hormone. Choleric is adrenaline, melancholy is the thyroid, the phlegmatic is pituitary, and then sanguine is either testosterone or estrogen. So, look, it's what they put in the book. That's all I'm running with. That's all I've got to work with. I see the looks on faces. Including the people watching at home. Yes, I can.
GM powers.
He's omnipotent like
them.
that.
Yep.
Don't worry, he can't see you if you're doing anything weird. It's fine.
I
can continue.
He's just polite enough not to comment. Also, he needs to be focusing on you two weirdos going out and causing mayhem in Paris.
So
they found out what opened in 1889. That is going to be where she goes immediately.
So they can send you up somebody who's got a bit of a rage boost on it. They will point out that if you're going to plan on feeding on someone choleric and gain the most benefit out of it, they can send someone up to you who you might want to put a little more effort into, and they can take care of the cleanup when you're done.
Okay.
Because if you want the most benefit from it, they're gonna find you somebody good and ornery, but that's not going to necessarily be someone on the payroll.
I mean, I don't have a moral issue with that.
I think any of us are good people. We're kind of all vampires.
Yeah,
kind of all vampires.
But it'll put a stain on you and potentially lower your humanity.
That's true.
If you don't give a shit about your humanity and eventually turning into a storyteller-controlled character, they can make a point to find someone, maybe somebody who thinks their spouse has been cheating on them, and make them think their spouse is hiding out in a specific hotel room. You're more than welcome to hang out and wait for the ornery fucker to come in and enjoy your snack, so long as you.
This is really full-on service here. Wow, this is a fancy hotel. We will enact a soap opera, so you can have a slight dice bonus to your disciplines tonight.
Yeah.
This is like 5-star.
Well, it would just be rude of me not to take them up on such kind service.
First off, the Disablas are always really nice to the Nosferatu because they respect them and what they're capable of. So they know when there's some asshole who thinks his wife has been cheating on him. And all they need to do is just go, look, I heard from a friend that you know this woman, describe the wife in detail because, of course, the Nos know what she looks like. Turns out she is having an affair. It's just not with another man, but that's besides the point. And then just send him your way. It's easy enough to do. It's not a problem. But you will need to overpower him, which will require some brief combat. So if you... Do you want to just be sitting in the middle of the room and have him come up and then just turn around and go, ah? Or do you wish to be hiding in a closet or something as he comes in all pissed off and then come at him from behind?
Hiding in a closet sounds like fun.
Awesome. All right.
I never make combat rolls. Let's have some fun tonight.
All right. So, you wind up, you get yourself comfortable, you pop out the buttons of the shirt, make sure you roll up your sleeves so you've got the full, full range of movement. So, plus you've got yourself this really nice clothing. I mean, Nas don't normally do nice clothing, but it's like, this was a gift. You don't want to ruin everything. So you hang out, and it takes about an hour and a half before there's this just boom, 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 boom. And you just hear screaming in French, boom, 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 on the door. And then you hear the knob wrestled with and then bursts in through the door. And this guy just stumbles in. He stinks of wine, and he is continuing to just scream angrily in French. His face is all red. His hair is messed. He's sweating. He's looking around. He's screaming. You're catching a woman's name in there. You think he's screaming for Amelie. He's coming around. He's flipping shit. He's working his way towards the bathroom. When would you like to attempt to take advantage of this situation?
Probably when I can most dramatically close the door so he can't leave and just be like, ominous figure.
Oh, so you don't. So you just you want to like do the whole intimidate rather than gain the advantage of him not seeing you coming. Because you're on a floor occupied entirely by kindred, so you don't need to worry about this being a masquerade breach unless you get to.
But I'm going to slam the door, hide, and then attack him while he's looking at the door.
Okay. In that case, when he goes into the bathroom, I'm going to need you to make for me a, what do we call this?
Okay.
We'll call this a dexterity athletics check to make sure that you're able to slam the door and get back into the closet without being seen.
John, you have 2 more GM +1s thanks to Vampiric Yoda and Fadier. Oh, 3. Fadier again. So you're up to...
Come on, guys. That's just rude.
20 GM +1s. Vampiric Yoda would like also paid to highlight his message, "Suffer, Drac." So it continues.
Well, since he paid to highlight that message, I guess I'm going to have to use at least one of these die during this combat on this poor mortal to give him a fighting chance.
Just to remind you, viewers, we don't use cash here, we use channel points. You want to troll us or the GM or both? Use your channel points. It's all listed in the little bubble icon.
I have 2 successes on that dexterity athletics roll.
Okay. So he storms in, you come out, you slam the door, and then you run back and try to close the closet. And he comes back out. He hears the door slam. He thinks, must have missed her. She's run out, sees the closet slightly ajar. She was hiding in there. Damn it! So he is now storming his way towards the door, about to track her back out into the hallway. What do you do, Vern?
Gotta come up behind him as he's going to the door.
All right. So,
get him from the back. He'll never see it coming.
Excellent. Then I would like you to please roll me a strength plus brawl check in order to in order to well, are you going to attempt to grapple him, or are you just gonna like nail him in the back of the head and try to knock him out?
I'm probably just gonna try to knock him out. It's easier.
Okay, then make me a strength plus brawl check. And we'll get his, because this is just...
I have 4 successes.
Okay. He actually can't resist any of that because he doesn't see it coming. So you give him a good whack on the head, and he is gripping the back of his head. He is angry. You didn't manage to knock him out, but you did him a decent chunk of damage there. And he whips around on you and then sees you.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to try and feed on him before all of that rage is replaced by absolute terror and choleric's not necessarily what you're going to get off of him?
Yeah.
Quick, in
Let's
that
go.
before his blood is flooded by a whole other hormone, then make me another strength plus brawl check. This time he gets to roll against you, though, because he sees you coming at him. I'll use one of those +1s to give him a little bit of a fighting chance here.
I rolled a 10 on one of my dice. What does that do?
10 counts as 2 successes.
Okay.
Don't forget to include your hunger die in those rolls.
Yes, I am.
That is... Okay. How many successes did you get?
4 again.
4 again. He managed to roll 3 successes, which means that you are able to attack him, and you are able to inflict 1 point of damage, which does knock him unconscious. And you now have a guy, his body's still full of the hormones, so if you were to feed upon him now, you would be able to still benefit from the choleric.
Hell yeah.
So you go down, you drain him dry? Or cleanup if you wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
we're gonna have some drama here in this game.
We haven't even left the hotel.
Yeah.
Vern, unknown to Charisse or Isabelle, has will now sit down and completely drain this individual. As he slumps to the ground, you just pull his head aside, you sink your teeth in, you just drain, and you just let the beast bathe. And you leave him drink. There's blood down the front of you, there's blood down the front of him. You just fall back, and you've experienced the joy of consuming blood, obviously. But now you understand why it's such an issue with draining a person dry. There is this, in addition to him just being full of a humor that resonates with your disciplines and resonates with you, there's this feeling of draining out the last drop of life that just, it empowers you. It is a high you didn't know you could have. And you're just laying there, and you feel alive for the first time ever. Like, you didn't feel this alive when your heart still beat. And you are just left there panting. Not that you need to, but it feels like the thing to do. Blood down your face and chest, and you just feel this urge to just keep pushing what little bits of it are still there into your mouth, to just take in whatever is left of him. After about 5 or 6 minutes, there's a soft knock at the door. Monsieur, are you finished?
Yep.
The door opens, and there is one young woman there and 2 men who come in. The 2 men pick up the body, one under the arms, one at the legs. Just, oh, excuse us.
Got another deadite. Let's go, boys.
Would you like to change clothes, monsieur, and then we will have those taken into dry cleaning?
Yes, I think I would appreciate that. I'm just gonna kind of look at the mess I've made.
Of course, not a problem. We'll have it all cleaned up and ready for you upon your return, or at the very latest by the time you awaken next evening.
Thank you.
And we'll have this cleaned up by the time you return, noting all of the excess blood that has leaked onto the carpet. It's not the first time. Don't worry. When you're finished changing, she takes your bloody clothes, just sort of wraps it up in the coat so she doesn't get it on herself, which, would raise questions. We hope you enjoy your evening, monsieur. Do not hesitate to call if you need anything else. And she turns and leaves. And while you decide what you're going to do for the rest of the evening, now we can do a little bit with Isabelle.
Hello. So,
Isabelle, while your brother is committing a murder.
well, there's a bunch of places in Paris where a young lady can spend her time, many of which are different than ours. And then I looked up. This is the time of operation and extreme popularity of Moulin Rouge. And when I learned that existed, I was like, well, obviously that's where Isabelle goes. Isabelle is here for a night on the town. And there's the thing is, she's been to a lot of the places here. She was aware of it, like it was getting started when she was mortal. Now it is in full swing. Eyebrows raised meaningfully because of jokes. Anyway, because I like jokes, and I feel like this is the place where she's going to spend some time. She has some time to herself. The situation in London was a little more than a little bit stressful. She's going to take some time to unwind. Does this mean that she will? Does this mean potentially potentially meeting the eye of an attractive star on there and seeing if something changes, because presence is a thing, possibly, but we'll see.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you were expecting. I assume it wasn't Moulin Rouge of all things.
Moulin Rouge was not what I was originally anticipating, but it certainly works.
Yeah, I mean, that or that, or and because there's more than one day she's spending in Paris. But she was thinking of like just like getting more in with the Sablas and like potentially just like seeing where they hang out and seeing if they can like make some closer social connections with them, because she'd much rather work with these guys far away than have a landlord.
Okay, so do you ask up front from the concierge what other establishments throughout Paris are overseen by the Sablas, or do you just want to go out and visit the sites? Because I will tell you right now, the Sablas do not own Moulin Rouge.
I assume they didn't.
The Kindred do not own Moulin Rouge. Kindred have to be very, very careful in Moulin Rouge.
Okay.
In this continuity, Moulin Rouge is run by the Fae.
That's good. Oh no, I don't know.
Do it!
So, if you ask,
she's going to. Oh yeah, she's going to ask about it because. I know that the new club is out. Something called Moulin Rouge, I believe its name is.
That is true. Well, Moulin Rouge is the new name for it, but it has been around a very, very long time.
Really?
Well, yes, as has its owners, but it's been here, it's been there. It goes wherever the fair folk wish it to be.
The fair folk.
Oui, fairies. Magic sprites and.
No, I know what fairies are. I simply. You don't hear nearly as much of them out in the States, of course. They don't have as much of a presence there, I don't believe. I didn't know until this conversation that they existed, because apparently there's a lot I have to learn.
There is a current peace accord between them and the Kindred of Paris. You are, of course, welcome to attend their establishment, but you are obliged to obey all of the rules, lest there be punishments laid against you, which no other kindred would be allowed to challenge without causing further issue. There is a what is the word? A peace accord, a stalemate between them, in order to maintain the balance of power.
Okay, that's good to know.
Charisse is like, there's lore, and I'm not getting it.
Well, there's lore, but also Chrysilla knows the old changeling lore of Paris, and that's that there are no changelings in Paris. Someone tried to bring a cold iron crowbar through a trod, and Paris on the dreaming side no longer exists. But White Wolf hasn't disclosed what the Fae are like in the V5 version of the World of Darkness, so.
Nope.
Just that they maybe kind of exist and there's some stat blocks.
Stat block, singular.
Oh, what? There is one kind of fairy. Wow, okay.
There is one stat block for mage. There is one stat block for werewolf. There will be several stat blocks for hunters when the Second Inquisition book launches. There is one stat block for ghost. But what it is it lists the disciplines that you would pull their powers from. So you could theoretically build them that way to mechanically use them appropriately.
So they describe them using vampire disciplines rather than their own magic stuff, just for simplicity's sake.
Yes, which I think they did also back in like V1.
Probably.
I think either V1 or V2 they also did that before there was a werewolf book or a mage book. Because again, while the systems are similar enough, they don't always mesh together super well until NWAD. That didn't stop people from using them together, but it wasn't until NWAD when they were designed to be used together. But yes, there's at least one fairy-owned establishment, and they have an agreement with the prince. Any kindred who, no
Meldels.
The kindred aren't allowed to try and avenge them because it's very clear what the rules are.
What are the rules, if I may ask, then? Precisely, just to make sure I keep myself safe here.
if you were to be present in the establishment, you would not be allowed to use your disciplines to sway either a performer or a guest to be your victim. It would have to be consenting exchange.
Okay.
The Fairy are very, very adamant about the value of consent here in Paris, especially when dealing with their guests. This is at least partially an extension of the understanding that they cannot actively interfere with kindred hunting by either posing as victims or planting victims under Fey enchantments for kindred to feed on in the greater city, because, as it was explained to me, fairy magic and kindred hunger do not mix terribly well. That being said, the fairy do supplement their interest by selling samples of their blood to kindred that wish to experience it. It is not cheap. But if you would like, I can arrange for some to be brought here. I would advise against going out when you sample.
I understand that. Oh my god, I just came up with a very... There are two very different ways I could take this, and I think I may take it the way of things of... Well, the ensembles are one business proposition that I have now. Because this kind of experience... I'm not telling this to this guy, obviously. This kind of experience is not available in Boston. She may be one of the best bootleggers in Boston, but she's certainly not the only one. I think I'm going to Moulin Rouge.
Okay. I just want to be clear about one thing here. You should definitely get the prince's permission before you start suggesting that any fays start opening up in Boston. Because Prince King might have an issue with a small fairy court showing up in his city.
And Malks, maybe not Charisse, but other Malks know quite a bit more about fairy bullshit than the other vampires.
Not to mention, this would now be a fairy court showing up in a city that does not have a standing treaty with its prince.
These are things that will need to be smoothed out in the future.
That's our little venture. Let's make things politically more complicated. Yay!
This was not what I was thinking about when I was going to Moulin Rouge. I thought this was going to be pleasure, not business. As it turns out, it could be both.
So when this storyline eventually moves into the modern night, Boston is a giant crater after the Vampire Wars, and then the hunters just had to arrange to destroy the entire city in order to prevent the magic from growing any worse.
What? They're fairies, not Prometheans. It'll be fine.
That all depends on how the kindred take it.
The kindred might not be able to see them already because of the mists. Odds are there's already a fairy court in Boston.
Yeah, I mean, might be. I don't know.
Here's the thing. There might be a fairy court in Boston that Quentin King knows of and has a standing agreement with. Now imagine one court suddenly seeing another court moving into its territory, and Quentin doesn't know about it.
That could cause a problem.
Yes.
And if he was any clan other than Malkavian, I'd say, nah, the mists just hide everything. It's fine. Nah, Prince Malkavian.
Yep.
No.
How much would I know about how bad idea this is in character?
Are you talking about from the perspective of dealing with the Fae, or from bringing Fae into Boston? Or trying to bring forces into Boston without the prince's approval, when it could be coming from a faction with which kindred do not normally get along?
Sort of all of the above there. I mean, okay. I mean, like, Isabelle's knowledge of the Fae is pretty limited, I imagine, so I don't think she knows exactly how bad an idea this is in terms of that specifically.
So in this case, we're going to do something a little unusual. I'm going to give you a slightly bigger pool than normal because you are going to roll your intelligence,
Okay.
plus your occult, plus your politics.
All right.
Normally, you would not add 2 skills to a roll, but in this,
That's perfectly fine, because guess what Isabelle's occult score is? It's 0, in fact.
Okay.
She doesn't have that. It's not
So,
one she does.
then roll me your intelligence politics.
Yeah, her politics is only 1, apparently. Maybe I should increase that one of these days.
You've encountered enough magical bullshit.
Yeah, true. Yeah, politics and occult are both things that I could definitely see myself increasing. Currently, I'm saving up to increase manipulation to 3, because I feel like manipulation 2 is pretty crippling.
It can be.
See, I was expecting mayhem tonight. This already goes far beyond what I guessed or imagined. And this, people, this is why you let new players into your game. They are not hidebounds. Like, oh no, that no, let's do it.
This is why I'm playing Isabelle, is because I think it's more fun if I play a character who rushes in and makes bad decisions.
Yay.
And don't forget that one of those die needs to be replaced by your hunger die, which I think is still a 1 for you.
Yeah, because we got refilled, so we're still at 1.
We got snacks.
So my dice pool is actually only 4. I have 1 dot in politics and 3 dots in intelligence, which is not
Okay.
not a
So
great, not a terrible one.
So roll 3 regular die and 1 hunger die, and tell me what you get.
1 success and a 1 on the hunger die. I don't know what this means, but it seems bad.
Right. So when one would fail check
You start thinking
and
about the
would
Fae.
roll a 1 on a hunger die, and if you have the official V5 hunger die, it would look like this.
Yep.
That would indicate that you had entered into a bestial failure. You have technically failed the check, but you still had 1 success.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't think about it so hard that you get angry, but you, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending upon how you look at it, don't see an issue with making arrangements with another magical species to just move into Boston under a business contract with you, and you see no reason why you'd need to inform the prince. I mean, this is purely your own business, and normally you can do things there without any issue.
Of course. My business with House Sabra was a favor, certainly, but once the favor was done, it was simply between me and them. Why would if as long as everyone keeps their heads down and like everything remains like good, then I see no reason why this couldn't be fine. Besides,
I'm gonna miss
always better
Boston so much.
what'd you say?
I'm gonna miss Boston so much.
Besides, it's always better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. That's what Vern always told me.
Stop it, putting it on me now.
Okay, but does that not sound like something Vern would say?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
The Vern that just did a
You're right.
nail dell in
It's just really funny.
To be fair, Vern did say that to Isabelle like 6 sessions ago.
oh my god,
Yeah.
this is perfect. I actually forgot about that. Oh my god, this is wonderful.
And
So
sure, this
Isabelle is
just
there to
really
make
cool.
possibly the worst mistake she's ever made since getting involved with a vampire and becoming a vampire. But probably that would be the worst mistake. But this is close.
So, a carriage is called, and you are brought to Moulin Rouge. There is a line of guests already waiting to get in.
Mm-hmm.
The cables are drawn, and people are being let in a few at a time. You can hear the music blaring through the walls. Even without auspex, you can smell the wine, spirits, and potent drinks pouring out whenever the doors open and oozing out on the people who stumble out, red of face and full of cheer. When you arrive, the doors open for you by the coachman, and then the coachman escorts you past the line to the front of Moulin Rouge. And there are 2 large, broad-shouldered figures dressed entirely in red suits with these bold black ties outside of Moulin Rouge. And the figure who drove the carriage and opened the door for you steps up and speaks to them quietly. And the two look at you. They nod. They pull up the barrier, and they let you in. And there are some people on the line who are just sort of looking, what the hell? They're speaking in French, and I don't know what your capacity for French is.
I feel like, just given like social stuff going at this time and giving her pass, I think she knows enough French to get by, but she certainly doesn't know like lower class French stuff, or any slang would be completely lost on her.
Okay. In that case, you're hearing something you can kind of piece together to be along the lines of, who is that? Why does she get to put the line? What's going on? But nobody really raises their voice. It's more questions from the line. And you are brought into an establishment that, if you didn't know it was run by the Fae, would clearly be done by some Toreador freak. There are beautiful bodies on display, dancing and contorting. There is music blaring. There are drinks pouring. The place is brimming over with energy and life. And if you had the capacity to see it, magic, but you can still kind of feel it. Your beast actually would be able to feel it. Would it? Roll me a D10 real quick.
Can do.
If you succeed or fail.
So D10, succeed or fail. All right.
Yeah. 6 or better success.
I succeeded.
You succeed. All right.
Yes.
You feel your beast stir. You feel it bristle inside of you, but then it just sort of quiets down as you just take in everything going around you. There are servers walking around in outfits that leave very little to the imagination, but cover up enough to keep it from being especially scandalous by modern standards. By our modern standards, not by their modern standards. By your standards, they're practically naked.
So
booty
shorts and crop tops. But the crop tops are probably corsets.
Isabelle is enjoying the view. Very much.
Oh yes, I've no doubt of that. There is much singing. There is much going on. What would you like to do first in this debauchery of sin, which you now find out is owned by the Fae?
Oh man, that is a hard question. I think the first thing she wants to do, of course, is, well, find out when the next show is. After all, this is burlesque. This is something like, it's theatrical. It's something that is to be, if you can't tell, me in real life has no experience with this kind of thing and has never done it before.
Yeah.
Which is good, because neither does Isabelle.
Yeah. If you step up and find someone and ask questions about when the next proper show is going to begin, because right now there are performers just doing light shows and small audiences at private tables, and a couple of just like space-taking performances up on the main stage. You would be informed that the next major show will be occurring in about 2 hours.
Huh. Plenty of time to mingle until then. Well,
if that is what you wish, then you are more than welcome to. Just remember to abide by the rules, kindred.
Of course. She simply flashes the person a smile and says, good to is my smell so evident?
No, the magic is evident that you are kindred. The smell comes from you being an American.
She gives that one a hearty chuckle. I think I've come to like this place.
Most of your kind do. Enjoy your evening.
If I may, we do have. I of course intend to enjoy the sights and the places, and do not worry. I know the rules, and I will follow them. But I was wondering if we have nothing like. See, this is part of why we have nothing like this back home in Boston. It's all. Sometimes it's well. Let's just say that like some of the people there, it makes it very obvious our founding members were, shall I say, less than bohemian.
Okay.
We can discuss this later, but there's an establishment I run that we could and in terms of I've heard something about the. Yeah, we should discuss this further somewhere more private when we can. But I have. Yeah, I assume there's some kind of role I need to make here.
Nope. That was my role to see if somebody noticed you and overheard what you were saying.
Let's hope it wasn't a hunter. A hunter wouldn't be able to get in here.
There is no hunter in Moulin Rouge.
Of course, there's no hunter in
Then
Moulin
it's
Rouge.
fine. You're not going to get your face bitten off. There's surely no fae that do that.
While you're in the midst of this conversation, talk about going someplace private to talk, a figure just suddenly sort of appears, putting hands between the two of you and spreading apart.
Mm-hmm.
They're a very, very pretty man. Like, the features are highly feminine, but the rest of the body's cut is very masculine presenting, with blonde curls that just sort of pour down the back, and these vibrant amber-colored eyes. No. I've got this one. Don't you worry, darling. Places a little kiss on the fellow's chin. You go tend to something else. You, my dear. And he just starts to run his hand down your shoulder, goes, you and I should probably talk. Right this way. And he starts to lead you off to the side, and he just reaches his hand into a shadow. And then the shadow opens like a door, leading you into this room filled with red leathered furniture and this huge oak desk with gold inlay and this rich carpet that basically looks like someone took a magnificent tapestry and just threw it on the ground instead. And the walls are lined with bookcases and paintings, and as you walk in, you realize the paintings are moving. They are living watercolors in motion. And he guides you in, and you hear the sound of a door closing, and as you turn around, it is solid wall. Now then, come, have a seat. And you feel a hand on the small of your back guiding you to a large red chair, and he slowly spins you round and sits you down. As he twirls and lays his buttock against the top of the desk and sits there and goes, so, a kindred comes to me with a business proposition. In the Americas, you say?
Indeed. There's an operation I run. If you're aware of the, if you're aware of just to like provide some context,
You're trying to fight with his prohibition. Yes, I understand mortal stupidity.
Yes, of course. But mortal stupidity can always be places where people like me and people like you can gain some effort. However, what I was wondering about, because I'd heard some fascinating things about the properties of a substance that only the Fae can provide, and of, well, let us simply say that I've heard of the properties that the Fae blood can have on kindred, and while the peddling of substances can be certainly fine with Kine, I have yet to be, and what the services I offer to kindred, there are many like it. if I am able to like offer this, if I'm able to offer this kind of service to the kindred here, if I have the proper permissions and get this working, then I can expand your. Then not only does it enrich me, of course, for the obvious reasons, but it allows you a foothold in the new world, where I don't know if the Fae have the same fame or foothold that they have here in the old. After all,
It depends where you go, number one. Number two, I'm slightly confused. Are you inviting us into a business opportunity in Boston, or do you simply wish to peddle fairy blood to the kindred of your city?
can it not be? I mean, that was okay. So out of character, that was my first thought of what she was thinking that it could work if they could get into a. Well, the way you're putting that makes it sound so difficult. But here's the thing: can it not be both? See, here's the thing. The more here is the suggestion. I don't know if like charm or charisma will help me here at all. I imagine I might just be like completely.
That depends very heavily on how you present this.
I don't know how to present this in character, but like her angle here is basically like, if we engage in this kind of thing, we will be entering into a virgin market, somewhere that we have everything to, somewhere we have nothing to lose and everything to gain. The substance of this stuff provides some fascinating experiences to the kindred here. As well, this allows it a foothold in a new marketplace that none of us have ever been before. Because while certainly there is a market here in Paris, if we go international, suddenly we can put together something much larger. And when you control if you have the supply, you have the control. This will provide not only me, but also you leverage over certain personages here in Boston. And with leverage comes power and wealth and whatever it is you may ask for. But that's why I would come to ask you, what do you want? What sort of proposition comes? What might you have to gain from Boston, after all? And I will see what I can offer.
Roll me charisma plus persuasion.
Okay.
And he's going to roll wits insight to try and read through your bullshit and to see if you actually have enough authority to make this offer.
Oh wait, that's not enough dice pools. I have 2 more dice to roll.
Remember, we have
that is 6 successes.
Oh. GM,
2,
you
3,
have
4.
7. You have 20 plus ones.
Minus.
Oh,
I the mortal that Vern fed on +1.
Ah, okay. Make sure to tell me when you use those. Okay.
All right. And you rolled 6 successes, you said?
Yes, I imagine you rolled more because this guy is Isabelle's out of her league here.
Yeah. He very much rolled 9 successes.
Yeah, I know. Whatever. I don't know how to do this in real life. That's why this wasn't going to work.
So, you're inviting us into Boston, and you wish to be a distributor of fairy blood for us.
Among whatever other services you would wish for me to help you with here.
Are you the prince of your city?
Well, a good friend of me always told me it was better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. Just to say no.
Or are you a primogen, then? Another term I'm familiar with from dealing with the kindred courts here in Paris.
No.
Okay. I see.
Not as such. I'm simply someone who wishes to make her way in the world and wishes to pursue perhaps different channels than some other might.
Could you provide us with an establishment not owned by a kindred or formerly owned by a kindred if you were to sell it to us to use as a court?
Ahead of time, you monster. There is one man who is potentially an obstacle to that. Formerly, I had my ownership of the establishment, but due to a miscontained boon, I have gained what we unfortunately call a landlord.
Yeah,
this was not something that was given to me by choice. It was a difficult arrangement that I am trying to get free of as best I can. If this means it doesn't work for you, I understand. I merely wished to make an attempt here.
At your explanation, he's starting to look a little bit bored, and he's just sort of looking at his fingernails now, just sort of polishing them, using his thumb on his forefingers and then using his pointer on his thumb's nail.
Yeah,
Would you be able to acquire the rights to a building that we could use to occupy a court?
Out of character. How would I do that?
You would buy a building. So long as you have the financial resources to do so, you could purchase a building. The thing is, you have to remember, Bard is concerned with controlling the south of Boston. There are plenty of places throughout the rest of the city that you could very easily purchase that would be not under his control.
Yes, that's true. And here's I think Resources 3 says yes, I absolutely can do that.
Resources 3 says you could probably do that, yes.
Yes, I can get that arranged for you.
Well then, we might be able to come to an arrangement after all.
Very well. I apologize if I appeared more grandiose than I intended. I apologize for any misconceptions here.
No, you didn't. I just wasn't sure if you were trying to travel incognito or not. But you don't quite have the stink of ages, so I didn't think for a moment you were actually going to be the Primogenial Prince. But I also wanted to see just how far you were going to try and take your bullshit.
Isabelle's just at that. Isabelle actually breaks into a smile.
So then, we're here to form a bit of a contract. Excellent. I look forward to this very much. As he stands up and comes round to the other side of the desk, and he opens up the top center drawer. You know how some desks have those very thin drawers in the middle, which is just like designed to just hold like a couple of sheets of paper?
Mm-hmm.
He pulls that open, draws out a single sheet of vellum, lays it out upon the desk, pulls a quill out of an inkwell, so quaint, and he just begins to write and begins to scribble out a contract.
Mm-hmm.
You take this time to look around the room while he writes, and again, all of these paintings done in different styles are in full motion. There are things happening everywhere. There are books here where the printing on the binding keeps changing from one language to another, to another, to another.
Perhaps
There's a moment as you're sitting there and you're just shifting. You feel this sensation running through the floor, almost as if the carpet beneath you just purred.
It's a puka.
And after a few minutes, he goes, "Now then," and he turns around and he hands you the quill. "Sign here. And the instant you have procured an establishment for us, we will come in and we can begin our arrangement."
Isabelle is going to like give a like warm, pleasant smile, and roll intelligence business to read this contract and see what's going on here, just to make sure.
That would be intelligence finance. Let's call.
Yeah, that's what it's called. I say business. I meant finance. I figured it would just like. I'm gonna at least give this a roll. 3 successes.
Would he get a count? You know what? He would probably get a counter roll for this for fairy wording.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh,
It just occurred to me. It just occurred to me. This is actually a skill. I should probably use it.
and
It might be wits instead of intelligence. Doesn't matter. It's the same dots for me.
I would say actually, yeah, this probably should have been wits, but if it's the same, it doesn't really matter.
I have a 3 in both. It's fine.
You know what? I'm gonna use one of my dots from my pool.
Oh no.
Because one Kinsey Quid got one. The other one may as well get it too, and we'll see how this goes.
Here.
I'm sorry, how many successes did you say you rolled?
3. I assume he rolled many, many more.
He doubled it. He rolled 6.
Everything here looks in order, and nothing here looks to be a problem whatsoever.
A bit of the legalese looks like legalese gibberish, but you would normally have a lawyer look this over or something, but you don't have the time for that. You'd have to call one over, and this might be one of those you gotta strike while the iron's hot kind of deals, because they might not be willing to hear you again.
Yeah, in fact, I think that's almost what happens. Is she's like doesn't quite understand. Is like about to like say, "I do have an associate that I might want to look at," and then she's like, and he's like, "By all means, but perhaps I may find it. But in the time, I may find like something like that happens, and then she just, of course, fortune favors the bold, does it not?" And she signs the contract.
Splendid. As soon as you return to Boston and you have a position for us, then we will move in immediately. But please do bear in mind that you will have about 2 weeks upon your return to Boston in order to find us the establishment, lest one of our other clauses kicks in.
Certainly. Certainly. I do admit I do have some business in Austria before I come home, so I appreciate that. I appreciate the willingness to wait as long as my trip here. I have some.
We tend to live longer than most of you do, so it doesn't really matter that much. We have to wait another couple of months, a year, but you will have about 2 weeks once you return in order to find the establishment.
Of course, you have my word, and well, you don't even need it, she says, indicating to the contract.
He takes it, he rolls it up, and he steps up and he goes over to a bit of shelving and pulls out this long, intricate, lacquered wooden scroll case. And he removes the side and he slides it in. He seals up the case and he places it within the confines of what looks like a pneumatic tube almost, and it just shoots up into the air. Well, since our business has been concluded, please enjoy the rest of your evening.
I am at a wonderful institution such as this. I can't imagine how I wouldn't.
I've certainly had plenty of fun this evening. Go, enjoy. Just abide by the rules, please.
As you have to that you do need my word, and you have it.
You hear the sound of a door opening, and once again you can see where there had once been a solid door is now just a passage leading back out into the greater Moulin Rouge dance area.
Isabelle goes back. Isabelle goes in. I think Isabelle has. I don't think we need to like role play out a burlesque show here. Isabelle has the time of her life.
Oh, she does. She does. She is riding a high because she thinks, I just made the smartest business deal in the world. I'm gonna get...
On a plain paper and ink contract with absolutely no magical ramifications possibly at all, because it's just a pen, an ink and paper contract.
You know what?
Like there was... This is awesome. This is
Before
awesome.
we get back to Vern and what he's doing, and everything else, Charisse, I need you to roll me a Wits Awareness Auspex check, and Vern, I need you to roll me Wits Awareness real quick.
Oh joy.
What was the check? Wits Awareness Auspex? You said?
Well, you say you have auspex up all the time, so
But yeah. So what I get a sense that there's a disturbance in the Isabelle force.
it's more a question of one of those instances of when something happens and then characters who aren't there sneeze or get a chill up their spine, just as knowledge that something has gone wrong in the universe somewhere. 3 successes. All right. So Vern, as you're heading out to go do whatever it is you plan to do, you get this chill run through your back. That didn't feel good. That didn't feel good at all. I must just be nervous about dealing with foreign nos.
8
Must
successes.
just be
8 successes.
What's funny is this is a part of Sharice's history she doesn't even remember.
Oh no!
Does that come into play at GM?
As you're in your room, you suddenly lose control of your legs and stumble, catching yourself on the chair. You feel a disturbance in the force, like silence suddenly filled by a million cackling voices, running high on sugar and delight.
Mortimer?
Yes, my love. What was what?
What was the laughing and the giggling and the what was that?
I didn't hear anything.
All right, so I guess the clan curse is finally getting to me.
I mean, possibly. In the back of your mind, you hear a familiar purring chuckle. You feel your beast stir a little bit.
I'm just going to go back to my Voltaire. The actual one. She just sort of sits back.
No.
Well, when in France, you know, she's just gonna go back to reading her book. That is not the deep occult book, but it's just like a nice book in French. And just ignore. No. It's everything's fine. Everything's fine. Absolutely, everything's fine.
Basically, you get the reverse Obi-Wan. Instead of feeling millions of lives suddenly, of millions of voices suddenly silenced, you hear millions of voices suddenly moving in. Oh, like I said, I'm gonna miss Boston.
I mean, it could be worse. The She don't show up until the moon landing in '69.
Nice.
So at worst, these are commoner. Well, again, I don't know how White Wolf is gonna rewrite Changeling again if they even bother. So
don't worry, these are my fae.
Okay.
That's a way too big smile you got on your face right now, GM.
I'm gonna miss Boston. Anyway.
So
you keep saying that.
So this brings us back to Vern. Vern, you've had yourself a hearty meal. You've got yourself a new suit. And now you're like, I kind of hope no one finds out that I just offed a guy back home because that might be problematic. But I do feel really good. And
murder ain't woke.
At this point in time, a thought occurs to you because you've heard from Nosferatu why diablerie is considered an issue because of how good it feels and how addicting it is. You've just experienced what draining a mortal to death feels like. And there's a part of you that goes, draining another kindred feels better than that?
Yikes.
Like, not necessarily the desire to act upon it, but the knowledge that theoretically draining another kindred is a greater high than that. It's a thing to consider. So yes, I assume you wish to head down into the depths and the burrows. All right. When you step into the elevator and mention as such, he pulls the lever of the elevator down one past lobby.
Oh, nice.
And the elevator continues to descend down.
I was wondering. Hello, room service. I would like the secret entrance to the catacombs, please. And that's
And as
time for
Vern
break.
descends into darkness, we will go on our break.
So just
Perfect.
one moment. I was mistaken. Isabelle isn't a Toreador that's accidentally a Vontrue. She's a Setite that's accidentally become a Vontrue, and I'll just let you find out what that means later. Because they're gonna be pissed when we get back to Boston. Forget the prince. The Setites are gonna be pissed.
They're going to be.
Setites work with the Fae? No one's told me about this. I probably don't even know what the Setites are. Nobody has told me this. It has not come
We'll get
up.
to break.
We'll get
Break
to them.
time. Okay, that was amazing.
Actually, I have no idea if I would even have heard of the Setites before.
They're a
they-
little secretive.
Yeah, and they also haven't really made their way to the Americas quite yet.
Like the Giovanni, they're just yeah.
Yeah.
I think the funniest thing about this is I have Intelligence 3 and Wits 3. I clearly should be too smart for this.
But you have an occult of what
Of 0.
Of 0. Yeah, you have not. That's clearly just an ink and paper contract. What could possibly go wrong?
Also, he has a much higher. Well, not much higher, but he had a much better role, because let's be honest, hiding the ways this can fuck you over in Fae legalese is basically what a Fae would do.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt like that would be a variable check to see how well he was able to hide it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like this is something that she's bad at. She does have 6 dice on that roll. It just didn't come to it.
She just, went fishing for cod in a shark tank. And maybe was not aware that it was a shark tank.
Was the pun is the pun based on the show Shark Tank intentional here?
I did not mean to, but okay.
It kind of works, doesn't it?
It works.
You went fishing for cod in a shark tank, but caught a megalodon.
This is true. She did not
Coelacanth like an Animal Crossing.
She was intending to just make a contract with some of the Fae here, and I think she may have found the leader of the person who's actually in charge of this establishment, and that may have gone very interestingly.
Well, that would be the person who would be making this deal with you.
Yes.
All right.
So, viewers, thank you for joining us. Enjoy your 10-minute break, and we'll eventually see the fallout. Well, now we have to continue after the Austria storyline. Besides, now we have to see how this shit goes when you guys eventually get back to Boston.
You can't just tell me that there are Fae in Moulin Rouge and expect me not to go to Moulin Rouge.
Isabelle just kicked off World War 1.5 in Boston, and it's gonna be all the fairy courts versus each other. Okay, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
But first, break. We'll see you in 10 minutes.
See you in 10 minutes.
Myself.
Awesome. I did not push the end stream button by mistake. Go me. Hello, this
We're
is
thrilled
Magic
about
Fish Radio.
this.
This is Magic Fish Radio. We do TTRPG streams at least twice a week, usually. And also sometimes video game streams. Tonight is Vampire the Masquerade V5, set in 1920s. Currently Paris. We were in Boston. Now we're in Paris. Hijinks have ensued, and ensued well. But we are not done with hijinks for tonight. So, John, take it away.
When last we left, Vern was descending into the darkness below the streets. The elevator descends lower, lower, lower. The equivalent of probably about 3 stories below the street's alley. When you finally reach the bottom and the caged door opens, and you find yourself stepping out onto a cold stone passageway. After you, monsieur. If you seek to spend time with the rest of the Nosferatu, you will find a major Nosferatu enclave a short distance away from here. Considering the time of night, just follow the sounds of conflict.
Oh, okay then. I will head out and listen for those sounds of conflict.
He closes the door behind him and raises up the elevator. And you walk down this tunnel for about 5 minutes or so before you start hearing the distant sounds of cheering voices and the sound of flesh connecting with flesh, before you finally enter into this chamber. And as you got close, it gets louder and louder and louder. And you find yourself now entering into what is effectively an arena beneath the streets of Paris, where you are watching various Nosferatu and a few other more human-looking kindred currently cheering or betting or actually in the midst of beating the shit out of one another. It's not unusual for you to watch Nosferatu get into scraps, like for the sake of exerting frustration or to help train out mastery of potence, which is a valuable discipline to you and your clan, alongside obfuscate, because when you're seen, you need to contend with shit. But is also a good opportunity to practice your celerity in order to evade the attacks. And it is here that you are watching a much more involved version of that. But that's probably because they've had a much longer time to build upon it. This is an entire culture of combat you're watching. It's easy enough for you to pick out what's probably a Bruja and what's probably a gangrel down here, especially since some of them are growing claws out of their hands that look like bear paws or wolf jaws, and they're probably not changing breed. But you come in and you're hearing voices cheering and screaming in French as you're just watching various kindred take each other to the mat. Obviously, the ones that are going bare-knuckled are taking much longer, as your kind are naturally resistant to the blunt force trauma. But those that are able to bring tooth and claw into it are having much shorter matches. And it is a lively sight. What would you like to do?
I want to get, like, in the crowd and watch a little closer and see what's up.
Okay. In that case, make me a wits awareness. Get a feel for the room.
See if I can grab the proper amount of dice.
And remember, you don't have to add any hunger die.
I do not.
When you drain a person dry, that is the only way you can get rid of your last die of hunger. 4 successes, yeah. With 4 successes, you are more than capable of picking up quite a number of things here. There are some fights people are more interested than others. A lot of people seem to be focusing on this one fight between 2 Nosferatu that is certainly less showy than what you imagine is the Bruja dodging left and right and coming in with haymakers, or what is clearly some gangrel that are getting involved using their ability to shape their flesh. There are people watching those, there are people cheering those, but there is a large amount of Nosferatu clearly invested in these 2 Nos currently going at each other. And they are going at each other hard. You're having difficulty keeping up with them the way they're burning through their celerity. And you're watching as they're both using their obfuscate to blink in and out of sight in addition to their speed. Their mastery of the disciplines they're constantly blinking in and out, almost like they're teleporting. And when the 2 of them collide, you can actually feel the pressure in the room change. These 2 are... There is not just we're doing this to blow off some steam. There is something between them. There is an energy, be it a hatred or rage, but these 2 look like they're trying to murder each other. And they are pushing their disciplines to their limits, trying to edge up on one another. And you're watching dodges, lefts, rights. One of them reaches into he disappears. He comes back. He's reached into his boot and pulled out a knife. He comes down swinging on the other. The other one catches him in the jaw. Boom! Knocks him back a little bit. There's another struggle. They come in. Celerity and Obfuscate constantly blinking in and out, here and there, here and there, here and there. Voices cheering. You hear names being called, but it's a little hard to pick up alongside all of the other French being screamed around you. And then blink here, there, here. Boom, boom, slash, clack, spray of blood. Somebody's been cut. Somebody's been stabbed. Something happened, but there's Vitae across the floor now. You hear cheers. You hear groans. They keep going, until finally you hear this one last slam of flesh, and you hear sudden, startled gasps as you see the two of them suddenly appear out of Obfuscate. Celerity stopped. One, his hand clamped around the face and head, pulled to the side. The other gripping into the arm and teeth in the neck. And you watch as one kindred, one Nosferatu in this ring, diablerizes the other. You watch him drain that kindred dry. And when he's done, he grabs the body and lifts it in the air as the body begins to dissolve into ash and chucks it from the ring. Ashes raining down on all of the Nosferatu as the bones lose their connective tissue and clatter down behind the gathered throng. And there is a moment of brief silence before about 2/3 of the Nosferatu present are cheering incessantly, and the other third are either cursing in frustration or just hanging their heads in shame. And the Nosferatu remaining in the ring, his arms thrust into the air, letting out a roar of victory, and Vitae poured down the front of him. Do me a favor and make me a willpower check.
Remind me how that works.
You have a certain number of points in willpower.
Yeah.
Roll those as dice.
What the
I got a
heck
10
kind
on one of them.
city is this?
And that's actually 5 successes.
Okay.
With the 10, so 6.
Okay.
I rolled well.
You very much managed to resist the urge to go in there and begin wondering what other kindred blood tastes like after having watched that display. You're not entirely sure what happened, but the Nosferatu don't seem to be bothered by it, and quite honestly, the Gangrel and the Bruja and the other arenas, they don't seem to have noticed at all. They've all been too invested in their fights to have even paid attention to what was going on over there, as this arena was basically closed off by just this giant throng of Nos. I mean, you're more than welcome to ask someone what's going on as the victor currently removes himself from the ring.
I think I would like to see if there's someone probably on the more celebratory side to ask what just happened. I assume it'll become pretty evident that I'm American and have no idea as soon as I start talking.
Right. The first, you come over and tap the first Nos on the shoulder. He just turns, he picks you up in a hug, and he just starts spinning around, still roaring in joy. A bit like Red Sox fan whenever the Red Sox win or lose a game. Or whenever they win a game, rather, because they're happy about this, rather than causing havoc because they lost.
Bold of you to assume I know sport ball. I'm just kidding. I've seen my parents after a big win.
Honestly, that's about all I know about Red Sox fans.
And we're New Yorkers, so that's saying something.
Yeah.
We know
So-
that they exist.
Chicago.
Hypothetically.
You like all.
Abstractly.
So you wind up
Chicago
you
likes all
wind
the
up getting,
sports ball.
you wind up getting passed around a lot as kindred are just like patting you on the shoulder, pulling you in, just continuing to roar until
Hello,
one-
what is going on, please?
until one of them finally manages to pull you aside and sets you around and starts speaking to you in French in a slightly more concerned voice.
I am American. I do not speak French very well. I just walked in here.
Oh, so that's what the stench was.
Apparently.
Wow, they hate Americans even more than they hate the Londoner. Wow. Well, at least No, Isabelle speaks French. So it's not just.
Well,
I am assuming that Vern never had a knack for languages, probably has as much education in French as Isabelle, never got good at it, and then never used it. Can maybe catch a word here and there, but...
You also dealt with the professional businessmen and the people who are currently employed by him. Right now, Vern's dealing with the man in the street.
Yeah.
So they don't necessarily feel the need to be polite to you. Well, what brings you down here, then, child?
Better than walking around upstairs.
No, obviously, but... No, I meant what brings you to Paris?
Some of my friends have business here, and, well, here we are.
I was aware of a coterie of Nosferatu coming to Paris from the Americas.
Because I'm the only Nos in the coterie.
And someone's cat has an opinion about that. The Gould cat goes.
Perfectly timed.
It's the parent.
It's the gangrel elder is a cat and has opinions.
You watch as a Nosferatu is just and he's taking his cat down.
Poor cat.
Right. Well, that's a little unusual, but all right. So what, you just came down here to feel a little more at home?
And to see what was going on. I sure found something.
Yeah, you came in to watch a blood feud be settled. A very old blood feud.
I see.
You watched two children settle a long-standing dispute by right of combat. Yeah. Each one blames the other for the sire's death, and well, it had to be settled which one was actually going to be responsible and held accountable, and well, there they are.
So it goes.
Yeah. He's going to have to remain out of sight of any of the fair-skinned kindred with Auspex for about. Well, actually, no. He wouldn't. He won't have to hide for longer than maybe a year because they were the same generation. But yeah. But after that, he'll be able to move about some again, and they'll have no ideas that he committed diablerie. I mean, if there had been a generation gap, then it would be a bit more of a concern. But that'll clear up in no time. It's like human acne.
That was funny. Yes.
Plenty of Nos get embraced because of their human acne.
So, child, did you come down here just to have a look at the show, or did you come down to get yourself involved with the locals?
Probably a little of both. I don't like not knowing people where I'm at, but...
No. Then allow me to properly introduce myself. My name is... Apologies. My name is Philippe Danclaude. I'm not the primogen around here, but one of the hunt leaders when they call for scourges to eliminate threats.
I'm Vern Quincy. I'm from Boston, but you've probably never heard of me.
I'm so sorry. But yes, you were looking for what? Just socialization down here with the riffraff, or were you looking for information, or did you just want to climb into the ring for a couple of rounds? Don't worry, the diablerie is only if someone starts declaring a significant issue with you.
I'll do my best not to give anyone significant issue with me.
I mean, you're American, so you won't have to try hard.
That's not encouraging.
Well, blame your countrymen for being assholes.
You know, fair enough.
I mean, we have a reputation across Europe, but your people, ugh.
I'm vaguely aware. I came for socialization, but I am starting to think a scrap with someone might be fun.
All right. So he tries to size you up, and what are Vern's physical stats again?
Strength 2, Dex 3, Stamina 2.
Okay.
I also have a specialization in grappling.
And what were your disciplines and what were their dots?
Animalism 1, Obfuscate 2, Celerity 1.
Okay. I mean, we got a couple of neonates that could use a couple of rounds of practice if you're up for it. We should have Mathilde calls over, and this female Nosferatu steps forward. She's wearing a loose-fitting black top and dark slacks that are sort of frayed at the bottom, and there's a bit of mud stain on them. Mathilde is less than essentially old. She seems like she should be about in your weight and skill class. Assuming I'm reading you right, and if I'm reading you wrong, then you're very good at hiding your talents, which would be impressive and very good for you. But if you want, this should provide you with a roughly equal challenge. And he turns to Mathilde and begins speaking to her in French. And Mathilde takes a moment and looks at you from toe to head. She just sort of shrugs and starts to remove her shirt, showing that she's got binding across her chest to help allow for greater ease of movement as she climbs into the ring.
That cat really wants to fight Vern, is all I'm saying. And we could play this like they're a level 1 wizard from First Ed D&D.
I don't even know what that means.
So
a house cat could kill a first level wizard.
It was 3rd edition. More like.
Because the wizard has 4 hit points, and the cat does 1d4 of damage.
Yeah, the cats in 3rd edition D&D are ridiculously strong for like what they're supposed to be.
Oh no, this is a trend going all the way back to OD&D. Through
Really?
OD, 1st, 2nd, and into 3rd, a wizard could be killed by a house cat at level 1.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Vern is baby.
I've seen memes going around recently about 6 cats could kill a commoner in 1 round
Henri!
in 5th edition, and I just think that's funny. Anyway.
In to be perfectly honest, 3rd edition was when a wizard started standing a better chance of surviving.
A cat attack.
Because that's when cats did 1d4 minus 1 instead of just 1d4.
And wizards got the shield spell, which helps.
And they were also more likely to put points into Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, so you step into the ring, and Mathilde is...
And Henri has decided, no, this is my fight. I'm half kidding.
Henri is watching the fight, almost as if sizing up to see which one is going to be worth his time.
Ghoul
All
or
right.
gangrel, chat? If I knew how to do a poll in chat, we would vote on it. All 3 of us.
So, yes, in this particular instance, you are now in the ring and able to settle up with Mathilde, who is going to roll her neck a little bit and then get ready to run in for an attack as soon as I double check all the things Celerity can do at this level.
I just took screenshots of this in the book so that I wouldn't have to go searching. I should pull that up.
Defense pools for lack of cover against firearm attack. Okay, so at this level of Celerity, she really has nothing that's going to help her overly much. Dexterity, tats, more. Yeah, no real advantage to her at Celerity at this level. So, What is your dexterity? Your dexterity was a 3?
Yep.
Okay. So her dexterity is actually higher than yours. So for the sake of settling this, she's going to be able to make an attack first, and then you're going to be able to counter that. And let's see how well this goes.
Okay.
Is Vern going to get his ass beat?
Oh, probably.
Or is Vern gonna do a manslaughter?
Fight!
I'm not doing any more murders tonight, okay?
I mean, you say this now.
You're not doing any murders.
It's not even...
But this is self-defense. You were clearly attacked.
Oh.
No court of law will convict you unless it's unless this is an older Nosferatu and the Nosferatu provision doesn't like you. Then a court would convict you.
So,
Which means I would be getting convicted.
at this point,
that's different. That's a kangaroo court.
are you going to attempt to dodge the attack, or are you going to attempt to counterattack?
I think I'll try to counterattack.
All right, then I'm going to need you to roll me dexterity plus brawl.
Okay. I'm decent at that. I want to use one of our +1s too, just for shits and giggles.
Okay.
Ah. Well, fucking shut up, phone.
I will bear that in mind.
Woohoo! Chat, you can buy us more +1s for our rolls with channel points instead of cash, because we're nice like that. And don't really know how to run a channel for money, so it works out.
I literally rolled 1 failure, so that's 6 successes.
Okay. So she comes at you with what looks like a fairly sizable hit, but you're just like, man, I went sparring with Bart Killian. This is nothing. So you're just like, you just managed to come in, catch her aside, boom, catch her real quick in the gut. She didn't see that coming. But because you guys have damage, that's only going to be 1 point of damage for her rolling down, because she rolled 4 successes on the attack, and you would do the difference in damage. You felt like you were punching a pretty sturdy set of abs underneath all that binding. It's like, oh wow. If you weren't a Nosh, you'd probably be pretty hot. All right, Vern, you're more than welcome to take your shot now if you wish. First one's not the other consciousness. Go for it.
I think I want to try to grapple her and like get her on the ground. She can't run and hit me again.
Okay. Make me strength plus brawl plus your bonus die for specialization, and she will make an opposed dexterity brawl.
I'll figure out how many dice that is.
Oof.
Oof. I have 4 successes and 2 1s. 1s don't matter unless they're on hunger dice, though, right?
Yeah, they're just failures.
Okay.
So you roll 4 successes against her 3 successes. So you are able to come round, lock her out, boom, you got her in a grapple. Weren't able to inflict any damage, but you've got her in a grapple. She is now going to attempt a strength athletics check to break free of your grasp. One lower than that. No, actually, that's 2 lower than that, because her athletics is lower than her brawl. That is 2 successes against your strength plus brawl.
4 successes.
All right. She attempts to get away, but you sort of like lock her down. It's like you can feel her shoulder starting to give a little bit as she's trying to go. Like, nope. You squeeze the lock in harder, and you can feel a little tension going in there. It's like that might have actually caused more damage if one or both of you had been mortal.
That's part of the fun of sparring when you're not mortal, though.
Well, it's your turn now. What are you going to do, Vern? What are you going to do? You've got Mathilde here in a grapple. What are you going to do with her?
Knock her over, I think.
Well, you're just gonna like try and sweep the leg and like pin her down?
I mean, probably pin her down hard enough that maybe I'll knock her out, but that's not probably not gonna happen.
I mean, it's still bludgeoning damage at that point. So
yeah.
So you're still gonna need to like go through more effort than that.
Yeah.
But I mean, once you got her down there, you can like try to repeatedly just slam her face into the ground if you really want to. I mean, that'd be a really humiliating feat for her.
Yeah, well, I walked in here and they insulted my countrymen, so I don't know.
Okay.
She said nothing personally, though.
So
I just have no creativity in terms of like actually physically brawling with people.
Okay, so this would be another strength brawl check to try and wrestle her to the ground, opposed by her strength brawl.
One day I'll start failing, and today is not the day.
Yeah, World of Darkness isn't a great system for TKO unless like 2 players are narrating and have agreed.
8 successes.
6 success. Yep, nope, you beat her 5 successes at that point.
Nice.
So you just bam, slam her into the ground. 1 more point of damage there.
Henri gets next fight.
Henri's slashing damage will go through your defenses. So
Yeah.
As Puka would say, my
So, yeah,
quas
you-
do aggro.
I'm not fighting a cat.
Are you a grizzly owl? Do your quas do aggro? Oh, that's right. You and Puka have never been on the same stream. Are you a
Okay.
grizzly owl?
So
I've been wanting to say that since you said bear paws, dude. Can't help it.
I saw you say that in chat.
I tried.
So
Did Vern
Strange-
actually get a TKO? Because that'd be awesome.
not yet. You still got to inflict a little bit more damage. So she is going to continue to try and escape your grapple, trying to like rock you off of her. So that is so this would be your strength plus brawl versus her dexterity athletics.
Right. Three successes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she got 4. So she's
Yeah.
actually finally squeezed her way out from under and rolled to the side. She is currently down on all 4. She is snarling at you. She is boiling.
Yeah, I would be too.
Fucking American comes into my house and disrespects me. I'm here to do you a favor. Just lay down and take it. So she lunges at you, fingers outstretched, fangs bared. Are you going to try and counterattack, or are you just going to try and get out of the way?
Just get out of the way.
All right, Dex plus Athletics.
And I really should just counterattack, shouldn't I?
Up you go.
I'm gonna counterattack. It's a bigger dice pool.
Go for it. In the grapple, she'd have lost a die to fight you, so she had a bigger die pool to escape.
Fair enough. 3 successes.
Unfortunately, she got 5.
Ah.
So you try to block the same way, and she just rolls alongside the block and bam, elbows you right in the temple, which would be 2 points of damage, which you have to 1.
How do I track damage? I've never actually taken damage
Underneath-
except for that very first time.
Underneath your attributes is your health bar.
Ah.
Oh, I guess they put it there.
So just put little slashes, because this is non-lethal damage you're taking right now.
Yeah.
So put one
So it's basically,
backslash.
yeah.
No, 1 forward slash in each for a bashing damage. For each bashing damage you take.
Yeah. Backslash forward slash doesn't really matter.
Once your health boxes fill up with bashing, if you continue to get bashing, you then put a backslash, and the lowest health box becomes a lethal because you've taken so much bashing it started to become lethal.
Got
Yeah.
it.
But at this point, it's once you filled up all those bashing, you're basically knocked out and the fight's over.
Oh, okay.
Because this isn't a fight to the death. They're
Yeah,
not settling.
we're just sparring.
Yeah. This is a spar. This is just for the sake of blowing off steam, because the Nos are sick of how all the fair faces treat them. So this is just a good way to vent.
And now there's a frickin' American here. Good.
Who just took a lot of shit in London.
All right. So she just bam, clocked you in the temple. What are you going to do in response?
Try to match the blow, clock her back.
Okay, so roll me strength plus brawl.
Four.
Okay, you try to swing. She tries to come back to catch you in the throat, but you both kind of lock arms, and then you have to just break free in order to avoid because she rolled 4 as well, which tied you.
Okay.
All right. She tries to rush in at you again to grab you by the head and jam you with her knee. Again, you have a chance to counterattack or to evade.
I'll counterattack.
All right, go for it. She's coming in to grab you and then just drive her knee right up into you.
It's only 3.
3 beats her too. So you manage to catch the knee, but bam, right into her face. She stumbles back a little disoriented. What do you do?
Try to grapple and knock her down again.
All right, go for it.
Five.
Which is exactly what she rolled.
We are very evenly matched according to the fates.
And that was a -1 die for the disorientation of getting her nose broken. So you come in trying to grapple her down. She comes in. She tries to fend your arms off. She tries to get you into a headlock, but you both just manage to slide free again. A bunch of Nas are really taking attention to this. Look at the kids. Like there are some Nas, and you hear them cheering for Mathilde to, you know.
Well, yeah.
That's kindred they know. And while you're in there and you're watching blood pour, you actually watch some of these motherfucking Nosferatu betting in the throng. You're watching them.
Come on, Vern, let's screw up their bets in this country, too.
Notice that and do a little, like, okay.
I feel like if Isabelle were there, she would absolutely be cheering you on. I want to be established that.
Obviously.
So she's now coming at you. It looks like she's trying to head clap you by coming and just slamming you around the ears with both hands. Counterattack.
Yeah, I want to counterattack by trying to slam her face again.
Go for it. Strength plus roll. I'm sorry, Dix.
Gotta give them a good show now that I know they're watching. 5 successes.
All right. So you manage to you do the thing she's not expecting. You dive forward in between her arms and just go boom right in. You feel the front of her start to bend in a little bit as your forehead collides with her. Her nose is already messed up from the last time you did that. There's some vitae starting to pour out of her mouth. She is.
Oh dear.
I need to roll to make sure she's not about to frenzy right now.
If that happens, I'm running.
Don't worry, Vern. Henri will protect you.
Clearly.
Because, damn it, he had next fight.
She does not frenzy.
Oh, good.
Okay, it's your turn, Vern. What do you do?
Probably going to make a poor judgment and, like, size her up again. Make sure she's actually okay. I feel kind of bad.
She's not looking great. She looks like she might go down if you inflict just a little bit more damage to her.
Okay. Guess I'm gonna try hitting her again.
All right, go for it.
I'm gonna scatter my dice everywhere, apparently, but okay. It's 3 successes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she might be looking not great, but she just
Yeah.
seems to be right up because she rolled 6.
Oh, jeez.
So,
That adrenaline kicked in.
Yeah.
you come in, and she turns around and she nails you in the stomach like you did before. She sort of borrows from two of your moves. She flows in, dodging your attack, and then just boom right in. And that boom actually startled Kitten.
Oh.
Henri falls off a rafter.
So you take another point of bashing damage there from the 3 rounded down. Right, Vern, your turn. What do you do? Oh no, wait, that was you attacking.
That was a counterattack.
All right. So she tries to keep it running. She boom in the stomach. Then she tries to come up with the elbow to catch you in the chin. What do you do?
Counterattack.
What do you go? Go, roll, do, say, what?
I don't know what I'm doing anymore, physically speaking. But I just rolled a lot of successes, so I need to count. 7.
All right. So she's coming up with the elbow, and you just go, no. You catch the elbow, run it to the side, and then you bam right across the face. You feel the jaw begin to disconnect as she sprawls across the mat. Out.
Oof.
There's a moment of stunned silence before about a fifth of the Nosferatu present just starts screaming and cheering because some of them had bet on the American and they just made some money.
Cash and boons and blood. That's how we roll down here.
You don't fuck with Americans.
They're cheering, they're clapping you on the back, and then Claude comes up and he goes, all right, that was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
I had fun.
Well, one of 2 things is going to happen when Mathilde wakes up. She's going to want to beat the shit out of you, or she's going to want to have sex with you. Possibly both.
Well, we'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah. He puts his arm around your shoulder and goes, come on, she'll wake up in a bit once she gets a bit of blood in her system. Let's get you patched up and see what else we can do for you this evening. So
much obliged.
Yeah. So he winds up leading you through the tunnels and eventually coming up out into an alleyway on the streets of Paris, where there are a bunch of people currently huddled together or huddled into these small huts. You've entered basically into an area of the city where a bunch of homeless have gathered, which is one of the regular feeding targets of the Nosferatu. This doesn't surprise you even remotely. And he just waves his hand and calls over a few people. And he whispers into their ears and he passes some of them some cash. And then they just sort of walk up. And this one guy with this thick black beard with a bunch of gray hairs in it. And he smells like he hasn't been washed in a while. But again, it's not an uncommon smell for you, though you have been getting bathed and cologned a lot lately. So it's an almost familiar, almost comforting smell to know that the homeless sort of smell the same wherever you go. And you are free to feed upon him in order to restore your injuries, which would normally require a rouse check, but we're just going to sort of brush past all that at this point.
Cool.
And after that, Dan Claude takes you back as your body's slowly knitting itself back together. So, now that you've had a bit of fun in the arena, what else can we do for you? Or do you just feel like watching a few other people knuckle drag each other through the courts?
I think I'll watch a few other people for the moment.
All right, then. You want to watch a couple of Nosferatu beat the shit out of some Bruja?
Yes.
All
Is
right.
that even a question?
All right, American, I'm starting to like you a little more. and you spend the rest of the night hanging out with a slowly growing number of Nosferatu that are watching the fights and cheering on, and a couple of you are clapping you on the back, and they're saying things in French. And towards the end of the night, when you're parting ways, Dan Claude winds up passing you a couple of bills, which were apparently your cut from the fight. It's not enough to affect your finance thoughts, but just some cash.
It's some spending money.
Yeah, pretty much. Because there are plenty of places where Kindred can still spend cash or give to people. Like, again, paying off homeless people is, a decent way to do things. You kind of make their lives suck a little less, and as you suck the life out of them. But yeah, after several hours of watching the fights and eventually catching dirty looks from Mathilde, if it's any consolation, doesn't look like she want to fuck you. Looks like
That's probably good.
looks like she wouldn't mind fucking you up a little bit. Like, she looks like she might want to get you back in the arena at some point. But
I mean, that's fair and valid. I kind of beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, but she got a couple good licks in too. But she's not she's none too happy with being humiliated. So eventually you return. You call down for the elevator, and the elevator descends. You're able to return to your room, no issue. Isabelle, you enjoy your time at Moulin Rouge. You drink, you make merry, you probably get somebody to consent to a little bit of bleeding. It's not a huge deal. Some fae or another probably points out someone who's totally okay with it because, you're in business with them now, so they're gonna help you however they can. Actually, here's a question. If Isabelle is offered her first taste of fae blood, would she take it? Yes or no? I need an answer real quick.
We have 4 +1s left in the pool in case you wanted to know. Oh, and a spare willpower. And a spare crit.
Yes.
Okay.
I know this is a bad idea, but the answer is absolutely yes.
So, when that offer is made to you at one point by one of the servers, they eventually come back to you.
Yes, she will say, will I need a private room for this? I've heard that it is a bad idea to go into the streets while it's there.
We can make sure you get yourself home just fine.
Of course.
So, a short while after making that offer, they return with a champagne glass, because this is before the period of using champagne flutes, so they're a bit more like those rounded martini glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And it is filled with this rainbow-colored shimmering liquid that has the consistency of blood, but is filled with undulating colors and smells of fresh flowers. And you can almost swear you hear birds singing.
Isabelle has, of course, holy shit, this is intense. I don't know what's going to happen. Isabelle is nervous about it, but looks up and steels herself. She needs to appear. She knows the importance of appearances, and she has to appear and of course she has to appear as if someone who is going to a strong, adroit business partner, and not a naive ingenue, as the case may be.
Oh.
And so she begins to sip.
You're going to try and sip it. Cool. Make me a willpower check.
Oh, yeah. Let me roll my 4 dice and see what happens.
We have spare willpower.
Well, that would be to replace one of the willpower pool if they pull from it, yeah.
All right, I got a 4. Sorry, I got 2 successes rather.
Okay. Yeah, that's not enough to stop you from chugging it once it gets that close to your face.
Fair enough.
You would have needed at least 3 successes to even try to resist that once blood that potent is that close to your face. You try to sip, but you slug it back. And after that, everything around you starts to melt. The walls start to drip. The people start to twist and bend and spin. You can hear flavors. You can taste smells. You can smell noises. And you can feel your bones sliding against the muscle, and I think I can take my skin off.
Nope, still not working, actually.
You don't recall when you got back or how you got back to your room, but you eventually come to the next evening in your room. But you spend the next several hours until you finally just go into day sleep, watching everything around you spin and spiral like somebody's just dumping paint into a mixing bowl, but it never finishes blending and turning black.
Feyblood is an acid trip. The more you know.
Yeah.
It's like that.
You know what? Actually, yes. Right at the end, just before you wind up passing out, you hear a voice go, Feyblood is an acid trip. And you see the shooting star. The more you know, before darkness consumes you. Which brings us to the next evening. Everyone roll me a rouse check, please.
Do I get disadvantaged because of whatever that was? Or
We'll get to that in a second. Vern,
Rouse check is 1 dice. I keep forgetting.
yeah, 1 die.
at your current generation is 1 die.
All right.
I failed.
No, I failed as well.
Okay, Vern, you technically don't roll a rouse check just because you had already dropped yourself to 0 and you're going to return to 1 regardless.
Okay.
So you don't need to roll the rouse check. You just automatically fail that first rouse check, basically.
The glory of being completely full has worn off, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Unless you want to drain someone dry again.
Which I don't want to do right this instant.
Isabelle?
I like how you said right this instant there.
Isabelle, you failed?
I failed.
So what does that bring your hunger to now?
2.
No, it brings your hunger to 3.
Oh. I'm starving.
Cherise.
My hunger was at 2 yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to say that when a nice person was teaching me French, I probably also had a snack.
Okay.
So I was back to 1, and now I'm at 2 again, until I have new snack.
Okay.
Alright.
Cool.
At least I'm assuming it's at 2.
Well, that depends. Did you drain 2 dots of blood from that person, or did you drain only 1 dot of blood from that person? How anemic did you leave them?
Less anemic. Only.
Okay. So if you drained
Certainly less anemic than I left them.
So if you drained only 1 point of blood from them and you failed now, you'd be back to 3 die of hunger as well.
Okay.
So I imagine the 2 of you with rumbling tummies and hungry beasts are probably calling down to room service for breakfast.
Oh, definitely.
All right. So you are received, and they said that they will be sending up meals. They, again, make the same offer of, are you looking for a light snack, or are you looking for a full meal?
I'm looking for a full meal, in which case it might be better to send up 2 snacks.
Ah, I see. Are there any particular humors that you are looking to indulge in today?
What have I got? What is it? Auspex is phlegmatic. Obfuscate is melancholy. No, I'm alright. I'm a bit peckish.
Very well. And when they're on the phone with you, Isabelle?
Yes, I think sanguine would be nice today. We are in Paris, after all. They say sanguine, that's nothing. Sanguine.
I mean, you can choose to put that however you want.
It'll just make Isabelle sound more American.
I think she said sanguine for a second and was like, wait, no, sanguine. I'm sorry.
What? She's hungover.
Strange night.
And are you calling for a light snack or a full meal?
Oh, Isabelle is calling for a full meal. She is ravenous. I haven't been at Hunger 3. I don't think she's been at Hunger 3 for a while.
Cool. Awesome. Well, because sanguine also covers the aspects of horny,
Oh, yeah.
and based on the way you've generally presented yourself as far as they're aware, they ask whether you would prefer male or female and how charged you would prefer them.
Charged?
Primed.
Ah. I'd say fairly enough. I'm willing to work up the mood and surprise me.
Excellent. In that case, about like 10-15 minutes after you request Charisse, a ghoul comes in with the to bleed for you as you need fit. You can drain 2 die from this person without killing them, but it's going to leave them very, very anemic.
Okay.
Isabelle, it takes a bit longer for them to get you someone because you did mention meal.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned 2 snacks.
Yes, you did mention 2 snacks. I'm sorry. They send you up 2 ghouls.
Okay, so between the 2 of them, I can get like 1.5 points.
No, you can get 1 point from each.
Okay.
Yes.
So that brings it down to 1?
Yes. Again, you can't get rid of that last hunger die unless you drain a person to death.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
They call upon the services of a figure of the evening, a rather lovely young woman who is clearly not a ghoul based on her complexion. But she brings along a bag full of various implements, some of which you're familiar with, some of which you're not. You said to surprise you, and
I think Fate's black, and Isabelle discovers some things about herself that she wasn't aware of.
Cool.
When in Paris.
Now, here's an important question. Do you take the meal, or do you only leave her anemic?
Ooh.
Because this is not a ghoul.
Mm-hmm.
So they would need to do something about dealing with the masquerade breach of this if you leave her alive. Or do you want to leave this as a
this? I think this needs to be some kind of roll, especially because she's at 3 hunger and hungover from the first time she's ever had this kind of experience.
Fair enough. Roll me willpower.
All right, rolling willpower with 3 hunger dice. So I have 4.
You technically don't. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't add hunger die to willpower, but you know what? Fuck it. Put 3 hunger die on there.
I feel like it makes sense because this is literally about hunger.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Renegade's not here to judge me.
Oh, that was actually 3 successes. Darn it, I was hoping she would fail.
I mean, I can pull Storyteller's Prerogative if you prefer.
Your call as to what you think makes the most sense here. What does the success on this willpower roll mean?
We're 2 for 3 on murders.
Basically, you're able to resist the urge of the beast to drain this person dry in the midst of sex.
Yeah, okay.
Because I don't think you intended to drain the person dry.
Here's what I think. Yeah, she leaves them anemic, and she says dominate and simply says, what do I have for dominate?
Had a little too much to drink.
That's right. I have compel and mesmerize, so I can just mesmerize this, right? To make this wait. I'm trying to remember what was because the other guy took the power that makes people forget, right? Darn it.
Let me check the book.
Dominate, mesmerize.
What does mesmerize do again?
Look into my
Rolls
eyes.
an unprepared mortal, commanding a resisting victim or another vampire requires.
I haven't used discipline I haven't used disciplines since the prologue.
You can give them commands.
Okay.
Mesmerize allows you to ingrain commands in them.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just like, speak of this to no one. It's not like anyone would believe you.
Oh, make me a rouse check because you're using mesmerize, and that requires a rouse check.
All right, just one die for this one because I only have 100 die, right?
No, a rouse check is just one die at your generation.
All right.
If it's 1d10, then it's succeed or fail.
All right. This one I did succeed on.
Okay, so you don't regain one of those dots of hunger after just having left her anemic. And after a while, there is a knock at your door, Isabelle, as several attendants of the hotel come in. And, well, when you tell them to come in.
Come in.
Again, a woman and two men come in. The two men go to pick up the body and stop and are confused.
Wait, it's still alive.
She is in no position to tell anybody. I am of Clan
Oh.
Walkthrough.
Oh dear.
Oh, was I supposed to?
Well,
I'm sorry.
You did request the meal, so we made a point to bring someone who would be easily removed, as she had done something to offend a member of this court. So her removal would have been not.
I'm sorry for misreading that.
Oh dear.
Well, I have. She's not going to speak of this to anyone if anything happens.
That's.
Do you need me to? I'm sorry, I hadn't.
It's all right. It's all right. If you
I had a weird day yesterday. I'm weird night.
If you want to finish, we'll finish the cleanup.
Yes, you can. That work. What does Isabelle do here? This is just weird. I think Isabelle feels weird about it and says
they are escorting her from the room if you're not going to stop them.
I think Isabelle just lets them. This is sort of a bit that she's just never.
Wait, they wanted me to murder her?
What?
What? They wanted me to murder? What? Where are
we?
we?
I think she just didn't understand the implications simply because.
And that's
it's just
time.
Yeah.
It's just not something you do very often.
And it's something you can do all the time, so long as you're not caught.
Sure.
Well, and so long as you
like an excellent place to end this week.
So long as you don't get caught, and so long as your humanity doesn't hit 0.
Yeah, it's just.
Which reminds me, I would say at this point, since it should be fairly obvious to Isabelle that they are now going to kill this woman, in order to ensure that the contract remains fulfilled. Both of the Quincy siblings have one stain upon themselves.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
I'd like you both to roll for me as many die as you have a difference between your humanity score and your stains. So, for example, if you have a humanity of 6 and a stain of 1, then you would be rolling 3 dice. If you have a humanity of 7 and you have 1 stain, you would roll 2 dice.
Where are stains
I'm a little
on the
confused.
character sheet?
Sorry.
Humanity is at the bottom right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found humanity, and I'm not sure where stains are.
Stains would be marked on your humanity as you acquire them.
You said
or rather, they would be marked on die that aren't on the space that aren't occupied.
The thing I'm confused about is like, you said the difference, but 7 minus 1 is
okay.
6.
You know how some dots on the humanity tree are filled in and some aren't?
I think maybe the sheet I printed was not very good. It just has it as a bar.
Okay.
It just has like 6 square. It just has 7 squares.
Yes. On humanity, there would normally be 10 squares for you to fill in.
Yes, there are 10 squares.
And you would fill in your case, 7 of them.
Yes.
And then you would start filling in stains in the blank squares on the other side.
Oh, okay.
So in the case of having 7 humanity filled and then 1 stain, the difference is the 2 die in between.
Okay, so I rolled 2 dice.
Yes.
I rolled 1 success.
Okay. That's enough to feel remorse for your stain and not lose a point of humanity.
Do 10 still count as 2 successes?
Yes.
Then I rolled 4 successes. My dice love me tonight, apparently.
It also feels you also feel sufficient remorse for the act of murdering this man after having, as far as you know, people lie to him about his wife having an affair and then sending him here to be killed, that you do not lose another point of humanity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it makes sense for Isabelle, because Isabelle's, she was just hungry and delirious and had a very weird night. So she just didn't think of the implications when she was calling at the time. She just wasn't in the position to be really thinking at the time. So I think that explains that scene and like what made sense.
Yeah. Oh, we're all having trouble with euphemisms in Paris. Well, I mean, Vern isn't, but all of us but Vern are misunderstanding euphemisms left and right. Woohoo! Alright, so that's game for tonight. And I guess next game, Charisse gets to read a book.
Yes, she does. Oops. And then Vern and Isabelle can apparently get themselves into more trouble.
Yay!
Yeah! I'll be looking for information next week.
All right. Now that you've made some contacts?
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
All right. So. Thank you for watching tonight, chat. Whether you watched us live, or if you're watching us from the future via VOD on YouTube or Twitch. We stream a few regular tabletop RPGs on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and we are also looking for one-shot GMs for indie games because I want to learn new games while I am back in quarantine. So, if you are an indie RPG writer, illustrator, developer, or fan, and you'd like to run a game on stream, join our Discord and let us know. And John, anything to add?
No. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you all enjoyed watching. I hope my players enjoyed being run through this game. Originally, this chronicle was intended to end once you all finished your adventure in Vienna, but now I'm going to have to at least extend the epilogue a little bit to see what winds up happening once this is wrapped up.
Oh, yay.
Oh, dear.
Alright. Oh, outros. Okay, I'll start, because then I can go find someone to raid. I'm at Ms. Crystal on social media, also at Magicfish Radio, wherever that shows up. It's usually me. Or it should always be me. If it's not, then someone's muscling in on my weird name idea. I'm generally on all of our streams, because I'm the channel producer. And sometimes we do video games too, but we're still working out scheduling for that. So I do this game on Tuesdays. On every other Saturday, I run Exit to Eden, which is NWAD in space. If you heard us talk earlier about how NWAD, the mixed races, the different splats are meant to work together more, so space works better for MWAD. and it's a wacky, rollicking, ridiculous sci-fi just runaway train.
Last week we had shenanigans with Jellycat, and it was
Jellycat.
fantastic.
I took the Jellycats from something positive and just made them a whole species. No one really sure where they come from, because they're not actually native to Eden, but let's exit to Eden. And on Thursday, I'm actually going to be playing in a stream on another channel. Goodness. Nerdsmith? Find it on my Twitter. I'll repost the stuff on Twitter. Where I get to play the lovable dumbass barbarian Tabaxi, and just, like, not have any mental responsibilities to running the game or the stream or making good character choices.
But doesn't get to carry over all the sweet magical loot that Moo had when traveling with my campaign.
You know, I appreciate that you're a very treasure-happy GM, but that was a lot for me to keep track of.
I mean, it was going to be a fun one-shot.
It was a fun one-shot. I've played Moo the Tabaxi Barbarian in one-shot, so now I get to play her in a campaign. It's gonna be interesting.
Nice.
So, next, Ari, tell us about yourself. Ari, and then, Dracus, tell us stuff while I look for someone to raid.
Hi, I'm Ari. Let's see. I guess I'll just, because I have nothing to plug of my own, I'll just plug something I've been, like, listening to right now. I've been doing my re-listen to, Dungeons and Daddies, a Dungeons and Dragons podcast about, four dads, stuck in the Forgotten Realms in a quest to save their lost sons. Fantastic podcast, would heavily recommend it.
There is a cat.
Oh,
I'm very distracted by the cat.
I only see the tail now. Oh wait, no, I see the full cat, because I was on Twitch and it was delayed. Hey kitty, hi Jetson.
Kitty.
This is Giselle.
Oh, this is just, she is slightly lighter colored than Jetson in black and white.
I activate my cat filter.
Anyway, I'm gonna choose to stop being distracted by the cat now. I'm Dracus, very easily distracted by cats. I've been playing Vern this evening. You can find me here on Saturdays playing Klaus, and a whole mess of other aliases that definitely panicked my professor when I connected to a class Zoom call earlier. I sometimes make short films. I'm active on Discord, and you can find me various places as actual Dracus, just like I am in chat here.
Okay.
And I'm literally everyone else in the world, and this is Giselle.
Hey, everybody. Kitty. Oh, Giselle has 1.5 years. Oh.
And, well, no, her ear's just ruffled.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And I am here on Tuesdays running game, and that is about the only online presence you will find for me. You can try looking for John Collins elsewhere. Congratulations and good luck. There's a lot of us.
Fadier makes note they can distract Dracus with cat. Oh, well, you can.
I mean,
me too. I mean,
same.
I mean, give me the option to play a cat as PC or NPC, and game is over. We're just gonna do that for a half hour. All right, so
see Jellycat.
Jellycat. So Nerdsmith is not gaming tonight, I guess. So we are going to raid Perception Studios, and I believe they are playing D&D. So get ready to raid. Again, thanks for watching tonight, chat, either live or on VOD. And until we see you next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I hope we can all survive the apocalypse together as we give you nice nerdy distractions while the world is on fire again. Bye!
Night. Goodbye. Enjoy.
Hey, everybody.